Hello, I am Plumpy from WhatCulture.com, and what just happened? We just had WrestleMania 33, and despite the fact that I completely f***ed up the predictions and am now officially called Plumpy on this and all future videos on this YouTube channel, bollocks. Despite that, I think this was probably one of the best WrestleManias of the last 10, 15 years. It was exceptional. And here's the thing about WWE and people decrying its use of kind of part-timers and reliance on the past. When it harnesses a collection of nostalgic surprises and emotional moments. Basically, you had here the perfect recipe for an emotional, action-packed night that made you feel like a kid again. Like, I watching the show, I honestly, genuinely can't remember the last time I felt sad like this, and we will get to that, but also happy in a way that I was just jumping out of my chair screaming at the sky. Now, I don't want this to sound hyperbolic. I know that that's something that happens a lot when it comes to WrestleMania season, but it was better than last year, better than the year before, better than the year before that, and it goes on. Let's break down the matches. So the pre-show, not much to talk about. Some good matches. Neville retained, looked good. Mojo Rawley won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal with the help of someone who I don't know who that man is. Evidently he's good at pushing. It's nice to see Killian Dane do really well. You will always be Big Damo to me. And finally, Dean Ambrose retained in a boring match. So then we get to the main thrust of the show. The pyro was incredible. I don't think it couldn't really be argued that this Mania had the best stage of any Mania ever, even better than WrestleMania X7. And that is saying f***ing something. We opened with AJ versus Styles. No one expected this match to be good. It was obviously great because it's got AJ Styles in it. I like the fact that Shane didn't jump off something high. I like the fact that they put it on early to avoid disappointment, and it actually was given time and it built and it was tense, the coast to coast spots, and Shane doing a goddamn shooting star press. Amazing. I thought it was really fun. AJ Styles getting his big first WrestleMania win. Great. Kevin Owens beat Jericho. It's a shame that this match was on second, but it was still really, really great. And a giant list of Jericho. That's what WrestleMania is all about. That's really good. KO beat him after the powerbomb on the ring apron. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what should have happened. The women's match, I liked the way they triple powerbombed Nia Jax. Despite the fact she went out early, she was protected by the fact they all had to gang up on her. It was very much the Authors of Pain thing from NXT last night. I thought Bayley winning was a safe option, and I think she deserves a big WrestleMania moment. I think it sort of cements her as the top woman of the division a bit too early. I think she probably could have done with losing and starting a program with someone that could have gone on longer. To be honest, it's much of a muchness. It was a good match. Charlotte is the MVP. Charlotte's great. Charlotte is the best women's wrestler maybe in the world that I know of. She's brilliant. The Hall of Fame, Kurt Angle is in the Hall of Fame. I'm so happy. I'm just so happy I got to hear his music live again and tell him that he sucked for being widely recognized as one of the best wrestlers on the planet. You suck for that. And then we had the Raw Tag Team Championship match. And the Hardys are back. Sorry, I should rephrase that. The Hardys are back in the WWE. And that is wonderful news. They appear to be doing the broken gimmick. He was doing that. They are the tag team champions. And I think it's only a matter of time before they probably split up and market Jeff as he used to be, because he's probably more marketable that way. But Matt, as he is, Broken Matt, the fact that they brought him in and have them do the broken gimmick, it's a hell of a statement. And you see it a lot now in WWE. They're bringing Drew McIntyre back. The fact that they are willing to recognize that people are leaving the company and making a better name for themselves outside, and then they bring them in and incorporate what they've done on the outside into the current programming. It's just something you're not used to seeing from WWE. It just fills you with joy. Plus, you got to hear the Hardys Attitude Era theme again. Like, I don't know if they're going to handle them right. I don't know that at all. They're on Raw, which is tricky, but it was just wonderful. Then you had Nikki and Cena beat Miz and Maurice. That's a shame, because in the final promo, Cena said he was going to crush Miz and that he didn't see him as a threat, and then they did the double spot on the two of them and made them look really shit. It's a shame. I think Miz is brilliant. I hope this doesn't derail him. And then Cena proposed, which is, you know, another thing. This Mania had something for everyone. It also had a proposal for those who really like the soap opera kind of style of wrestling. And you know what, Cena, if anyone's going to sell that right, it's going to be Cena, and he did. And I don't really care about their love. I don't. But it was a nice moment. I recognize the fact that it was a nice moment. Cena, words that he said were kind of nice. I don't really care, but it was nice. I didn't hate it. It was a moment. It was nice. Then you had Seth Rollins versus Triple H. Triple H entered on a trike. He entered on a little vroom vroom with his leather waistcoat on and his daft wife on his and vroom vroom he went, because he's really tough. Vroom vroom vroom. Triple H, you're stupid. But fair play Triple H for putting over guys twice in a row. I'm sure he'll be putting over Dean Ambrose next year. Seth Rollins looked amazing in the gold with his flame and setting the thing on fire. Steph got comeuppance, actual physical comeuppance, twice in a row. She went through a table. That's brilliant. The sequence when they were just swapping pedigrees for ages, I love that. It was really tense. You didn't know which way it was going to go, because honestly Triple H could have won because he beat Sting. I thought it was brilliant. A really, really good match. Probably my favorite match of my favorite match of the night. Then we had Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton. And it's the only really sore point for me, because Randy Orton is boring, and this storyline could have gone on with Bray winning, and Bray, his first WWE title run ends after a month, and he's never won at Mania, despite the fact that he is so interesting, and if they just got behind him, he could be so great. And Randy Orton is so boring. Anyway, Bray Wyatt is no longer the champion, despite the fact that he could make maggots, worms, and cockroaches appear in the ring via PowerPoint presentation. That's stupid. Oh, bollocks. Bray Wyatt's really great. Why can't he win at Mania? Why? Then we had Goldberg versus Lesnar, which was not on last, was not the main event, and it was a blockbuster match. Basically, if you're not a German suplex, an F5, a spear, or a jackhammer, you can get the out of here, because we've only got room for the big moves in this match. It went shorter than 5 minutes, but it was brilliant. It was really, really good. Like the Germans, and then him popping up and giving Lesnar the spear straight away, running, Lesnar being able to jump the spear, and so he flies into the corner. It was really, really great. I'm glad it didn't go on last. I'm really glad. And yeah, the right result. Lesnar is now the new Universal Champion. I like Lesnar as a world champion because it makes sense, because he's a legitimate fighter, and I think he helps any belt that he carries for that reason. I thought it was really, really, really good match. Proper hype, proper giant dudes just banging into each other. Great. For all the amazing technical and indie wrestling that I love, and I do love that, I also like seeing huge blockbuster dudes smashing into each other. And that's what it was. The SmackDown Women's Six-Pack, Naomi won in her home state, hometown. Great. I thought it was a good match. I feel the glow. It was good. There wasn't that much to it. Ellsworth was wearing a silly thing because he looks like Beak from the X-Men. Here's a picture of Beak from the X-Men. But yeah, Naomi, good champion. Over the last kind of month, I've really grown accustomed to the idea of her as one of the top women on SmackDown. Feel the glow. Boom. And finally, the last match, which is why I'm a little bit subdued in saying this. Not just because I am Plumpy. It's The Undertaker's last match. That is plainly obvious by the fact that he left his gloves, his coat, and his hat in the ring. And for all the speculation, for all I've said on podcasts and every smarky bit of insider, well, obviously Taker must retire this year, I wasn't ready for it. It really bummed me out. I think Roman Reigns retiring him without turning heel is a waste of potential. I think the whole Roman Reigns is a heel. We're just presenting him in a different way. I do think that argument it is counterproductive because the fans are angry at the product, not at Roman. They express their displeasure via Roman, not at Roman. I do think that's a key difference, and I do think if Roman had turned heel to retire Taker, it would have been better. But that's just not how it's going to go. He is the big dog. This is his yard. He has a giant garden, for he is a giant dog. I thought the match was excellent, storytelling-wise. Taker not being able to get up, the multiple spears, like 2 spears in a row, and him kicking out of both. I thought the clumsiness of Roman not being able to get him up for the tombstone, it kind of added to the fact that this should be Undertaker's last Mania. And then when he left and looked like an old man, and he walked up the ramp and he stood with his fist in the air, and we all stood with him with our fists in the air, and he lowered into the ramp. Yeah, genuinely probably the most moved I've been since Daniel Bryan won the title, or since Ric Flair retired. The Undertaker is an institution. He represents a style of wrestling, a style of character work that is not seen anymore. The commitment to kayfabe, the commitment to a style of storytelling that supersedes everything else, that supersedes athleticism, supersedes sports logic, supersedes everything. It's an archness, it's a campness that is needed to make wrestling palatable, I think, to make spectacles happen, to make WrestleMania something that you would travel to because it's a show, not just a bunch of matches, not just a bunch of really good wrestling. The fact that it's something that fosters memories. And I hate to use the term WrestleMania moments because it's branding and it feels really false to do that. But being present for The Undertaker's last WrestleMania as an in-ring competitor, that is special to me as a fan. You saw Roman Reigns celebrating and they had the pyro, and that leaves a bad taste in your mouth because it literally him standing there victorious whilst all the fireworks go off. It's him celebrating this awful thing that we're not going to see Taker anymore. But yeah, it's emotional. For anyone who says that wrestling isn't emotional, this night proves completely differently. And I've rambled, and I'm sorry for the person editing this, but genuinely, we're not going to see a WrestleMania like this for a long, long time. And do not let the fact that Roman Reigns won clean distract you from the fact that top to tail, this show had peaks and troughs and something for every single member of the family. Spectacular action, huge surprise returns, comeuppances, great storytelling, and ultimately something that leaves a lump in your throat. Fantastic Mania. Absolutely fantastic. And I certainly couldn't have done it better. Hats off to WWE. I am Plumpy from WhatCulture.com, and that's what just happened.